in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rebelpreneur Radio, the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. I am joined today by Sahar Irwin. She is a professional public speaker and a result coach. She is the president of Sahar Irwin Enterprises, and she has an inspiring story to share with her audience. Her passion is to empower women through her workshops, speaking engagements, and coaching by teaching them how to embrace their femininity and still have a voice to stand for themselves and lead. Sahar, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Thank you very much, Ross, for having me on the show.
Well, thank you so much for being here. You left your home country, which is Iran, 14 years ago to seek freedom in the United States, and you have had to overcome a great many challenges to be able to create the business and the life success that you enjoy now. Tell us a little bit about how you got started and what brought you to the United States.
Right. Great question. I'm originally from Iran, and I grew up in an environment that as a young woman, I was not allowed to experience freedom and do things that most women and young girls are allowed to do here in the Western world. For example, I was not able to wear something as simple as a nail polish in public or makeup because I could, at that point, the environment was so oppressive that I could potentially even get arrested and being sent to jail. So growing up as a young girl, it was really challenging because I wanted to experience freedom and feel beautiful, but I was not even allowed to date my college friends, the male students, freely in public. So growing up in that environment, I had to find a way to literally fight the system. And I remember I would do that with doing mountain hiking every Friday morning with my dad. And I would wear my nail polish, I would wear makeup, and then I would cover my nail polish by wearing a white glove to pretend I'm protecting my skin from sun, or wearing sunglasses, pretending I'm covering my eyes from the sun. And then I would, even back then, I had something called Walkman, which I'm sure the new generation, like my son, doesn't know what it is. And I would hide it under my uniform with all the wires being hidden under my scarf. And when I would pass the security guard, which was at the base of the mountain, monitoring women from head to toes to make sure that they are following the rules of the country with the dress code, once I would pass the security guard, I would start listening to music, which back then was American music. My favorite was Celine Dion I would listen to.
Yeah.
And I would then take my gloves off and even take my scarf off to, let the air go through my wind. And that was an opportunity for me to experience freedom in that oppressive culture and environment. And then 14 years ago, I got engaged and I came to U.S. and I thought that now I'm married the love of my life. I can experience freedom in this new country. But then, unfortunately, the marriage was abusive, and there was a night that I find myself and my 2-year-old son at the time in a women's shelter. And that was a very difficult experience for me because I had to leave the comfort of my home and be in that shelter with other women, sharing the room and food and everything. And that experience, as much as it was difficult for me, and it was literally one of the darkest time of my life, but it also developed a heart and passion for me to want to help women and want to empower women. Now, at the time being at the shelter, I had no idea, what is going to happen to me next day. But that was one of the experiences that truly helped me to find the passion to empower even other women in challenging situations in their life.
Wow, that's a tremendous story, and it's really encouraging because I hope it motivates our listeners to really appreciate all the advantages that we start out with. Most people listening to me didn't have to start out in an oppressive government and with a country that restricts your freedoms. And so we've really got a head start, but you managed to escape that and come to a place where you could basically, you thought where you could have freedom, but it turned out that it actually was an abusive marriage that kept you oppressed. So you got out of that and you had to figure out a way to build your life back up from basically nothing. So how did that lead you to become a Tony Robbins coach?
Right. It was shortly after my divorce that I was emotionally in a very challenging situation trying to figure out my life. And I was introduced to Tony Robbins. So I went to his live event as a participant to work on myself. And I was fascinated by the environment. It was my first experience to the personal growth and self-development world. And I just knew that I wanted to work in that environment. So before you know, I went to 17 live events of Tony within 1 year. So every month I'm traveling all over the U.S. and even all the way to Fiji, because I just want to learn as much as I could and also eventually work for the company. And after all those participations, I ended up doing some volunteer crewing for the company. And then from there, eventually I was invited to attend a training program, and I was selected as one of the result coaches. And that gave me an opportunity to meet amazing clients from all over the world, all walks of life, with really interesting challenges, from facing depression or being in an abusive relationship or having a difficult childhood or wanting to lead a team and they don't have the courage to do that. So all different types of challenges, but it gave me the opportunity to really connect with people and realizing that at the end, we all striving for the same thing in life, no matter what walks of life we come from.
Wow, that's really amazing. So you went to all of the Tony Robbins events. Eventually you became a coach for Tony Robbins, but then you left that company and that powerful brand, and you started your own company, your own brand, building a business that helps other women find their voice. Tell us a little bit more about that business that you started.
Right. As much as I loved working with different clients and I was fascinated by the training, there was always this voice inside me that as long as I stay in a system, I am not true to my own voice, and I need a space to be able to share my own story, my own message, and I know that my passion is helping women. So eventually I had to make a tough decision after 2 years to leave the company and go on the road of entrepreneurship and figuring out how to build my business. And it has been a long process and still is evolving and growing, but it's an amazing experience because it not only gives me an opportunity to work on my business, but also as a person, I need to evolve, I need to grow in order to be congruent in the message that I'm sharing with my audience. So it's an amazing opportunity to also do the deep work on myself while trying to help other people.
Wow. Well, that's just such a great story that you have. And it's an excellent example of how people are able, with the right mindset, they can turn their mess into their message, and they can use that to help other people. So you have really been there, and you can really relate. Tell us a little bit more in your work, what you do for people, and who do you help? Who do you work with, and how do you help them?
I'm putting most of my focus and energy these days on empowering women through my message that it's about embracing their femininity, because since last year I have been very involved with the community, in attending different women empowerment groups and doing volunteer work, and realizing that all these amazing professional women, they have to put a masculine mask on in order to be able to compete in their work environment with men, and prove their self-worth and prove that they're capable of achieving. But then they bring that same energy, that masculine energy, home, and it is not nurturing, it is not attractive, especially in an intimate relationship with their loved ones. And so that's the challenge that I witnessed that women are experiencing. And I literally asked myself this question, that if all paid the same, and what would I want to do for the rest of my life? If I can pick one thing that I say I'm naturally good at it and I can contribute to this world, what would it be? And it came to my mind that, no matter what I went through in my life so far, from my experiences growing up in Iran or, later the challenges I had in U.S., I always remained true to my authentic self, which, it was being feminine. If I have a 103-degree fever and I'm sick as a dog, I still manage to wear my nail polish because it makes me feel beautiful from inside out. And I like to dress up, not to impress somebody, but because I feel good about myself. So I thought this is something that is like a principle that I lived by it every day. And it's natural for me. So I like to help women with this concept that it's being forgotten in today's world. And when I talk to women, it's sometimes it's like they even afraid to admit that, femininity is beautiful and it is powerful, because I think the concept out there is that being feminine means that you are weak. So that's why women have to put this face out to the world, in the professional world. And here I am with my message, and through my training, I want to help women to let them know that, being feminine is the most attractive and powerful asset that you can have. And it's not just about taking care of your look and wearing a nice dress or wearing a makeup, but it's also about having a voice, being confident, knowing your self-worth. So it's a combination of all of this. And when you embrace this beautiful energy, if you walk into the boardroom, you can be the most influential, attractive woman out there, and you set the boundaries, you set the bar up so nobody is allowed to cross that boundary and do something inappropriate to you or say a comment to you. And doesn't mean you have to dress inappropriate or something, but it's about staying true to yourself, staying feminine to yourself. Even if you want to wear a suit, do some color in it, wear something like jewelry or something to complement that outfit that shows that you are comfortable in being feminine. And then also, like I said, when you bring that same beautiful energy back home, you're giving a gift to your partner that you allow him to be more in his essence and being authentic to himself, which is masculine. And that is when polarity creates in relationship with couple.
Very good. So you are a certified strategic intervention coach and a marriage education and divorce prevention coach, both of those certifications from the Robbins Badana's Center for Strategic Intervention. So you are very experienced at what you do and very good at what you do. What would you say is the most common problem you see with the women that you're helping?
It's about women not understanding that they have a voice, and not being confident in who they are, I do workshops for YMCA as a volunteer, and these are women that go through divorce and through life transitions, sometimes even career transitions. So it's a very tough situation that they go through, and what we create through the workshops is for women to understand that no matter what's happening in the outside world to them, they still can, shine from inside out. They still, can remain confident even if everything is taken away from them. They still can feel beautiful about themselves, and they are worthy of amazing life, so that they can give themselves a second chance to start over.
Excellent. Now that is really needed in today's world, and with women in particular. What can someone right now who they are going through some of these same challenges and they're trying to find their voice and feel empowered, what could they begin to do right now to begin to see some immediate improvement in their self-worth and their confidence, in their femininity, and all the things that you help them with?
Right. Just like one of my mentor, Matthew Hussey, has said, every change that we want to make in our life, it's 1% shift at a time. So creating 1% daily rituals, whether it's about embracing femininity more or embracing confidence more, ultimately can change our destination and head us to the right direction. So women that come to my workshops or work as a client with me, we create daily rituals for them to start their mornings with a set of exercises to take care of their health, or do prayer or meditation to feel grounded and calm. And then even if they are single women and not in a relationship with someone, they can still take care of themselves and do the act of self-love by buying themselves flowers, going to a massage, or maybe do their hair once in a while in a salon, or just simple things, light a candle at home and just dance to music and be silly, just to be able to let that feminine energy flow from inside out. Because feminine energy is all about being free, being vulnerable, being open, and also for exercising their confidence and self-worth is to set boundaries in their personal relationship and also in their professional relationship. So in the situations that maybe in the past they would just give in and show up as a passive person, now they can show up and be comfortable with saying no, or what is their opinion, or what is it that they stand for. Because when they do that over time, they actually earn the respect of other people, and then it's just a matter of practice. The more they do it, the better they get with it.
That sounds really amazing. You work with people, you work with women to help them, as you were saying, in their daily rituals, to overcome limiting beliefs, create new stories, overcome self-doubt and limitations, get rid of those emotional blocks. How would working with you really improve someone's chances for success as opposed to trying to figure this out on their own?
Great question, Ralph. Being a coach is almost like a professional athlete coach that, when the athlete is getting prepared for that race, they are so much into the game, close to the picture. So they may not be aware of their weaknesses or their strength. So the coach that is on the side will be able to look at the bigger picture for the athlete and bring to the athlete's attention that, hey, these are the areas that you need to improve. And so the athlete still is doing the work, but the coach is giving the insight and honest feedback. So in the area of life coaching is the same thing. Still, the client has to show up for their life and do the work, because no matter how great the coach is, until the client is not willing to do the work, nothing is going to happen. But when the client is ready to make the change, then the coach can give them that bird's eye view to point them to see the bigger picture for themselves, to see what's possible for them, and also remind them of their strengths and their weaknesses, and kind of play the role of their accountability partner with them, so that when they are improving, they celebrate the wins, and when they are getting off track, remind them of their greatness and challenge them to get back on track.
Wow, that's really powerful and very needed, because it's hard to do this stuff. And so you need somebody who can really stand outside and look and say, oh, here's a blind spot. And that's why they call them blind spots, right? Because you don't see them yourself.
Absolutely. Right. I went to a retreat for myself because I'm still constantly going to get more training and keep up with the game. And I was facing a relationship situation in my life that I was totally had that blind spot. And 15 minutes of coaching with a mentor just literally changed my perspective about the situation, which I was struggling with the concept for 6 months. So it's amazing what a right coach can do for you.
Now, you have several different events and coaching services. Tell us what you're working on right now that's got you really excited that you'd like to share with our listeners.
Right. Being a feminine energy, I'm like all over the place with creative ideas. I need to be more focused. But I'm in the process of putting my new brand out there with a new website, and then also creating this monthly workshop locally in Florida for women that they can attend, so that we can work on all these topics that we discussed, and why I'm doing my private one-on-one coaching with women. And into the future, I'm sure that there would be a book out there, because everybody hears the story. They say, oh, it's inspiring and you need to write a book. So I know that, definitely it's something into the very near future coming my way.
Well, that sounds exciting, and I can't wait to read it. That would be great.
Thank you.
So, what's the best way for our listeners to find out more about you and find out more about the products and services that you offer?
I would say it would be the website, www.saharirwin.com. SAHARIRWIN, SaharIrwin.com. And they can go on the website, and it would be my contact information. And once the new website brand is launched, then we are going to put the weekly video blogs there, so they can get updated with all the new training materials and upcoming events.
Excellent. That is really good. Your story, Sahar, is so inspirational and it's so motivational. I feel like that we can go out and climb that mountain now. But before we leave, any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I would love for women to know that embracing their femininity and owning it is the most attractive and powerful asset that they have. It's about tapping into their inner beauty, passion, and voice. So just for the women out there to just be authentic to who they are and not be afraid to own who they are and be true to the essence of what they have been created.
Words of wisdom from Sahar Irwin. She is a professional public speaker and result coach, as well as the president of Sahar Irwin Enterprises. And you can find out more about her at saharirwin.com. Sahar, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been a real pleasure to connect with you, and best wishes to you in your business and in your life.
Thank you very much, Ralph, for having me. I enjoyed being on your show.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at ralphbrogden.com.